All right. We're live. Okay,
Oh
let's
yeah,
see
I
here.
see the live button.
Oh, do you? Okay, yeah, that
Yes,
means it's happening. It's
yes, and
official.
you can see me.
I can see you, but you're not on, like, I think we're on YouTube, but we're not on Facebook yet. Facebook will hit here soon.
Oh well, just call me Dave when we're on Facebook because I've been banned. I'm banned from Facebook, so
Okay.
I'm
So
just giving
once
you a heads up.
right.
4 years I've been
Okay.
banned.
For 4 years?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
I
What?
tried. I tried to get back on, and they said, "Were you ever on Epstein Island?" And I said no, and they said, "Well, then you're not coming on."
Oh gosh. No, why did they
They
was it
said
because
you're
of like
not in the club.
elections? What was it? Like you're too supportive of the president at the time?
Yes,
Okay.
I was very supportive of Trump, and I was memeing my butt off on Joe Biden, and yeah. And I tried to get back on. I created not anything fake. I just went on with my company, Ken Matthews Media.
Yeah.
I reapplied like as Ken Matthews Media last year or the year before when I launched my podcast, and I put my business number and did all this stuff, and it approved me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. And I said,
Great.
I'm not going to do anything crazy on Facebook. All I want to do is advertise. I just want
Okay.
to let people know here's where you can get me, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So I set up an ad package and everything. And I was like, nothing launched yet, but 2 days into it, I was corresponding with them and they got back to me. They great news, Ken, your ads start in 15 hours or whatever. And there was a countdown clock. And then out of nowhere, you've been permanently banned from Facebook. And I'm
Oh,
like, that's it.
why? What
No
happened?
reason.
Okay.
No reason.
Not cool.
Not
Okay. So
cool.
those joining us now, welcome. Welcome. Get on in here. I always say that. I always say get in here like we're getting in a circle or something. Come on in, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. We're live on Conservative Mama. With Conservative Mama and Ken Matthews. We're also we're on live on Facebook and YouTube and Rumble. And I'm excited. I'm excited to have Ken
Can
on.
you slow down just a little? I'm trying to do for the hearing impaired. Slow it down just a bit.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Can you really? Okay. I'm live with Ken Matthews from that's terrible. Stop it. So we're live on Facebook, on YouTube, and Rumble, and we're excited for you guys to join us. There's a lot to discuss. I met Ken a while ago, just via. I got on his show. He's got a super special show that you have to pay to watch. You have to go behind the paywall.
Because of my stupid mortgage.
Like Tucker Carlson does now. I guess that's what the cool kids. That's what the cool kids are doing. You got to go behind the paywall to see them. So this is a special opportunity to have Ken grace us with his presence for free on Facebook and YouTube.
Thanks for making me sound like a prostitute. Make it sound like, I'll come on your show if the money's right.
So here we are, and we're excited to have you. Is anyone on from Facebook? Let's see here. Like if you're on Facebook, let me know. Hello, Brett Green on YouTube. Appreciate your support. Okay.
Now, see, I haven't been banned from YouTube yet, so I'm on YouTube.
Okay, good.
And I'm on Rumble, of course. Rumble is like my secondary. The main thing, obviously, is for people that actually care about children.
Right.
Is it okay to use your first name on this?
Yes,
okay.
Rachel.
Well, I see Conservative Mama up there, and I didn't know.
Oh, yeah, I can change that.
I didn't know. No, that's fine. That's your thing, man.
It's my alias.
Yeah, because I have your full home address on my side, so.
Because I'm super secretive.
Yeah.
Right.
Kids are home now.
Okay.
So what we were, the money thing, the podcasting thing, you brought up Tucker, and it's so funny because he doesn't need money ever again.
No.
And it's interesting. I know he's got a lot of expenses though. He started his own network, so know.
Okay, we got Kelly on Facebook. Hey Kelly, thanks for joining. Okay, so there's so much to discuss, you guys. We've kind of taken off to a firing shot here with the new year. It's there's a lot going on. I think the biggest thing to discuss right now are the Epstein files that have been dropping. Actually, another batch just dropped about 30 minutes ago. So far, a lot of the lefties were really hoping that Trump would be, implicated in all this, and there's nothing that's implicated him thus far. So people are outraged by that, which is just kind of like crazy to me, Ken, when you think about like children being harmed and mistreated and abused, and you're rooting for someone you don't like to have participated in that. It's like, that's real derangement.
They hung that around his neck in 2015.
Yeah.
And when I came out and endorsed Trump in 2015, when he was running against 16, well, we knew later in 2015, we knew he was running against 16 other people. So there were 17 people in that primary race. Right. And he came down the escalator with his lovely first lady wife, Melania, and he gave that speech. And I said right there, he's probably going to win. I'm going to endorse him because I like what he had to say. Right. And then I immediately started to vet him. Okay. And the first thing I vetted was because they were leaking out all this stuff. Trump is a racist. Right. So I started to vet all these lawsuits he was in as a realtor. And I kept looking for, where is the sexism? Where is the racism? I mean, I understand there were conflicts with, landlords and real estate and everything. And I kept looking for, but he's not a racist, but he's not a sexist, whatever. And then they brought in the Epstein thing. Remember, they started throwing those. Trump attended several parties like people do in Palm Beach, and you're going to run into all these rich people because rich people live in Palm Beach. Right. And, don't forget, the late Rush Limbaugh lived in Palm Beach. That's where the Southern Command was. Right. So there's a lot of activity in Palm Beach, and people are going to cross paths. So there were some pictures floating around. There's Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, and there's Donald Trump and Melania and Jeffrey and Ghislaine with like a palm tree in the background. I'm like, okay, what is all this about? Because the last thing I want to do is endorse some guy who's a scumbag. And I said that right on the air. I remember saying, if he turns out to be a pedophile, he should be in prison for life or worse.
Totally agree.
So what I found out by going to and through the Palm Beach Police Department was everything that the left was saying about Trump and Epstein was false. Mm. Even the detective said there was one person that went out of their way to help us with everything. It was Donald Trump. I've started reading the transcripts. There's like 3 different, that's your pizza is that your pizza that you ordered?
It's the text messaging. I told you about that. I can't turn my text messaging off on this, guys. Okay. So you're going to hear little dings.
So I've already threatened Rachel that every bing, I'm going to have a bad joke. So get ready.
Yeah. I don't know how to turn it off. If anybody knows how to do that, just drop it in the comments.
I'm vetting Trump, and I'm going through all this stuff. And then on my show 2 days ago, I finally found the transcripts that lined up with the truth. And that was there were some people that were interviewing Trump, and they were saying, well, did you ever have sex with these people? Did you do this and do that? Right. And what's that?
No, I'm listening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the girls in the transcript, this is what you can find now. There's like hundreds and hundreds there's like 3 groups of documents that have been released. There's flight and travel information and dates. Then there's depositions from witnesses. And then there's structural things from the court. So they front loaded the week with structural things from the court. So you see a lot of whose attorneys are who, and then you get a lot of cross-examination and depositions. So the depositions, I'm reading these victim statements. Their names are now made public. Okay. And they're saying like, Trump never had sex with anybody. He never even flirted with people. In fact, he was pissed off that, Epstein. Oh, now my phone's going. Did you just hear my phone? That's funny. He was pissed off that Epstein was such a pedophile, and he called him a pig, and he banned him from Mar-a-Lago and all that. So then I was relieved, and I kept looking and doing more research. That's how I got into the whole research. Is that your agent?
No, it's my son's. Oh my gosh, this is like a hot mess, you guys. My son is FaceTiming one of his friends. He doesn't have a phone. I don't allow them to have phones, but I will allow them to talk to their friends here and there. And
no, so he's He's streaming on Rumble right now. Your son. Yeah, and he friggin' hates Trump.
Oh,
And
no,
he's streaming on
no.
Rumble.
No, no, he doesn't.
Anyway, so it's
Anyway.
a shaky start. That's how live
okay.
radio is anyway.
Fine.
It's always a shaky start.
All
So
good.
long and short of it, the whole reason I got into being I would say, I'm not going to say an expert, but let me put it this way. I'm probably more well-read on the Epstein stuff and some of the controversial stuff around Trump than most people in the media, because I really wanted to find out from myself. I needed to vet him before I meet him and go to the White House and support him and all this stuff. I better make damn sure he's not a Russian spy. He's not a pedophile, you know, how he treats his family, et cetera, et cetera. So I did. And during that process, I realized that so many of the people in Washington, D.C. are truly scumbags. And as we're finding out, like with Adam Schiff today, did you see the Adam Schiff thing?
Is he on there? What's the Adam? Like he's been implicated?
Yeah, apparently he's visited Epstein Island numerous times, and you've got to ask yourself, why?
Yeah, no.
Why?
I think if you've gone to the island, you know what you're doing. Okay, and all of these people should be shunned. If you have visited the island, we're done with you.
Now hold on a second there. Hold on. I didn't go, but what if, and this is what I want to caution people to do this.
Okay.
Make sure when you're reading the documentation, you're clear on the trip, all this other stuff. Like, for example, I researched someone about 3 years ago, and I'm not going to mention their name because they were exonerated. But there was a situation where they had to borrow Jeffrey Epstein's jet.
Oh.
So the flight log that came up when I was doing record searches, but Epstein wasn't on it. They didn't even go to the island. They had to go to this conference, and there was something wrong with their jet. So they just corresponded with so there's a lot of little nuance in there.
But don't you think I think if you make the trip to the island, if you go to this island, you know what you're going, like at that point, for me, just this, from my point of view, if you're going to this island, you're a sicko and you need help.
I think if you abuse children, I think you should be shot in the head, and that should be the end of it. Because I don't want to spend any more money on these people. I don't want a protracted trial for so-and-so who allegedly raped however many. I don't want a trial.
No.
Be done with it. Send the message to people.
Right.
However,
we cannot accept this as a society. Like,
but what if and I'm being the devil's advocate, and people are going to hate me for this because I'm really not Satan. But what if you're the assistant to the president of fill in the blank network?
Okay.
And you travel with this individual, and you for the one time you go over there to Epstein Island, and then you're hanging out in the lodge or the waiting room. You have nothing. You don't know what's going on. You're at the pool. You have no clue. Here's why we have to be careful about this, because I would think that the Democrats are going to look for any reason to equate us with them. And there's a difference.
Right.
So they're going to look for, seriously. And I know this is a crazy example, but it's like if you were a contractor that worked in, Fort Lauderdale, and they said, hey, we want you to come and redo the pool, or the pavilion needs new stucco on it. Leave it to a Democrat or the media to get that name and say, man, they were even entertaining contractors over there.
No, I see that.
I
like
just
a doctor, a physician, stuff like that. But famous politicians, famous celebrities,
politicians, it's
people in power going to that island. You need help. Like, you're sicko, and you're going for I mean, I don't know if people have heard this, because this is starting to come out more and more. There's this whole theory, and I'm starting to buy into it, that I know that Epstein, like, he was in communication with the FBI. Are you aware of that, Ken? That he was talking to the FBI?
Yes.
So the whole theory now is that this island and this whole operation was to actually blackmail people in power, people in high up positions.
That's not
a lot of
That's not a
influence.
theory, it's the truth.
Okay. So yeah, and that's what I mean, that's what I see too.
He was
So
also getting money from the Mossad.
and I've heard that too.
And that's the whole reason. And you know what's interesting, Rachel, is you and I, and probably people that watch your show and watch my show, we're ahead of the information flow. A lot of this doesn't come as a shock to us. We're kind
Right.
of like, oh, I knew that was, I was waiting for that. But
Right.
people who have never heard about this boggles their mind. But this has been this whole concept of a government, a group of people in power, hiring a middleman or an
Right.
intermediate to compromise others and then sell that information. It's been around since before World War I.
Yeah,
I mean, that,
to control those
yeah.
people in power. But I'm
So,
not to say that Epstein wasn't a sicko, because he was a sicko. Like, all
oh
like
my
you start to
God,
go
he
through this
was,
stuff, like,
well,
guys,
you have to be.
yeah, like he's horrible, horrible human. And he was a perpetrator and really evil and vile with these young girls. So, but he, he was also kind of working to control all of these people in power, which is just fascinating to me. And then you start to go over these names, like just now, Hillary Clinton in the latest batch. Her name has been dropped. I don't know her participation in it or whether what she knows, but the fact that she's in some of these depositions is interesting to me. Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker, Stephen Hawking, David Copperfield, Thomas Pritzker, who's the exec at Hyatt Hotels. These are just names being mentioned. So I'm not saying that they participated in any of this, but these are names being dropped that are now public to everyone. Glenn Dubin, Jean-Luc Brunel, Bill Richardson, he's the former governor of New Mexico, Alan Dershowitz.
Now, see,
Prince
that's an interesting one
Andrew.
because
Yeah, let
Alan,
me know your thoughts.
Alan represented Epstein as an attorney.
Right, right.
So initially it was, well, I went to the island a lot. He's my client. And then
Right.
girls started to accuse Dershowitz of stuff. And then he sued some of them and won. But then a
Okay.
couple, it's still in play. So like
Okay.
Alan Dershowitz to me is a giant question mark. I don't know
Okay.
but then part of me is like the way you are with, if you even drove by the island and wave, you should be shot. No, I'm just kidding. But part of me is like, hey, nice.
Not participating.
Yes, yeah. Just looking.
Don't look. No.
Wife is on the boat.
Come on, Ken.
The thing about Dershowitz though is why would you represent something like that?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? If it was if he was just, people have this opinion that Epstein was a mover and a shaker and this business genius. He wasn't. He was just a patsy who knew a lot of people. And I don't know if you probably knew this already, but his apartment in New York was the largest private residence in the country at one point. in the city, for sure. It was a whole city block. He bought it for $1. Okay. Yeah. When you look up the real estate, he bought bought several properties for $1. Now that's a guy who's plugged in to probably the government.
Right.
It's like, all right, you buy this from us. It's $16 million, but you can have it for $1. There was a pin camera or hidden camera in every room of that mansion. The bathroom, the cloakroom, the basement, the playroom, the utility room, the bathroom, the bedrooms, everything. Here's, to me, one of the big reveals or releases from this week. The FBI has thousands of hours of tape, disc, digital, and going all the way back to VHS.
Wow.
Of people. They're labeled
that were coming and going from his apartment,
from all his properties. This went on for years, to the point where they have VHS of it. So they have boxes and boxes. It's an entire library like this, except the wall just says like names of people on it. and they're all video-based products.
Right.
So to me, I mean, that's what I want to see.
Right.
Well, let me rephrase that. I don't want
Well,
to see it.
this is what really makes me mad, Ken, is like when you think about it, okay, the FBI has all this information, and like all of this evil is taking place, and our government is just like, just to control like these innocent victims, these poor girls. And this went on for years and
Yep.
years and years, and nothing was done. I mean, isn't that enough right there as like, if you're a lefty, and I know people that follow me are, and independent voters and all the, you left-leaning Democrats, why would you want more government? Like, that is your government right there doing that. That's your government. Like, it's so dark and so evil, and then you're voting to expand it.
Yes.
To give these people more power and more control. And I don't get it. I'm like, they need to be limited. This is evil stuff. It's horrible.
It's beyond evil.
Yes.
I mean, it's evil at a biblical level, and people don't understand yet. This is the part that I would consider us as truth tellers or truthers or alt media, whatever you want to call us.
Right.
But the people in the mainstream and people that just get their headlines from a quick hit from Fox News or CNN or NPR, I don't think they realize how dirty your government has to be to protect these people. To think about the level of filth in the DOJ, that you can have boxes of tapes of congressmen and senators raping little boys and girls, and no one acts on it. Think about the level. Think about that for a minute. That's what worries me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why January 6th was such a farce. Right. I mean, people are like, I tell my friends all the time that, January 6th was a setup. I know people that are there. I've spoken to people that are still in jail. It was a setup, and the FBI coordinated it because they need to label all of us conservatives and patriots and MAGA and Trumpers as insurrectionists. So that's the narrative they had to kick off. And they don't believe me. And I say, how difficult is it just to label Ken or Rachel as an insurrectionist when the same group of people are letting congressmen rape little boys? You think it's a stretch for them to shut down your business or close your mall because you're not wearing a mask? That's nothing. This is where the real evil lives. Right. This is where it lives. It lives in the epicenter of taking advantage of the weak, leveraging the strong and the powerful. And that's why there are several different countries involved in it. The UK had a relationship with Epstein. Right. Israel had a relationship with Epstein. And America did. What do those three countries have in common?
Right. Right. I know. It's just, I don't know. I hope that this wakes more people up. I hope that and my concern is, and I'm sure people like listening are like, what's going to happen? Right? Like all of this, like what comes of this? Like, do these guys get punished? Do we shame and tar and feather them? What happens right now? Like, what are we looking at? What do you foresee? And do you foresee anything happening?
First of all, I don't know if there's going to be a 2024 election.
Oh, okay.
I've said that before, and people like, what? I said, I just don't know how there can be. If the release of evidence and factual information continues at this rate. For example, we just found out in Georgia, 48 hours ago was confirmed. We all knew this. There was never a full forensic audit in Georgia.
Oh, wow.
Because evidence was stolen, evidence was deleted, and Raffensperger and some of the other people prevented it. We've got half our country drives around thinking that all these states did audits. Hey, your dog's there.
I know, Ringo. He just came in. He's not supposed to be in here. Ringo, come here. Say hi. Say hi. Good to you. Good to you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man, he is a beast, isn't he?
He's like 90 pounds.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Now, see, that's the kind of dog you want to, sick on some woke person.
Hey, say hi. Can you say hi? Like he knows. He's like, oh, I'm going to say hi. I can go. Here, go. Ringo, say hi. All right, he's coming out. Can you guys shut that door? Shut the door.
You can't go wrong with animals for ratings.
Oh no, he's so loyal.
Yeah,
no, yeah.
So we were
and
talking about.
He can pick up on things, like, not to go off on a tangent here, but we were on a road trip, and he was in the back of our truck, like we have a covered truck, and he was going crazy with this one car that we were driving by. What is that first amendment? I like it, Ken. I like it. But he was going crazy with this one car that we were driving by. Call him out. And I think there was something like evil about that. Whoever was in that car, he'll growl at certain people, but most people he's totally friendly with. But every once in a while you get someone and you're like, oh. And then I'm like, I don't know if I trust you, because he doesn't like you. And if he doesn't like you, there's the reason he doesn't like you. So
I believe that.
Yeah.
I've never had a pet because I'm evil. And no,
why have you never had a pet?
Never had a pet. Well, let me take that back.
Okay.
My youngest, we had ducks.
Yeah.
We had rabbit. We had hamsters. We had turtles.
Okay.
Look, my rule is don't have anything in your home that can poop more than your kids.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I made the mistake. I made the mistake with the ducks because they're poop machines.
Yeah, but ducks.
Yeah.
My mom has chicken. My mom and dad have chickens, and those guys.
I see your dog is very obedient as well.
Girls, get him out of here.
Outstanding.
Call him out and shut the door hard. Like, yeah, he wants to be with me. Like, he's I'm like, he is so well trained, Ken. He's amazing. He doesn't do anything I tell him to do. So no,
actually,
he prefers to be at my feet. Like, literally, like, he all throughout the day, he is by my side, like, all day long.
Well, actually, when we first started, you said he was out in the garage repairing a cabinet, wasn't he? So he was like distracted. Yes. The dog is amazing. It uses tools.
Amazing. He can read. He can write.
His little paws. He uses tools. He was the one pinging the phone.
He was texting. So yes.
So to answer your question about the fate of America, which really is boring.
The election. You're saying it's not going to happen. It's not happening. You're saying it's not. We're not.
I don't know how anybody that's rational can look at the stolen election information, which is going to be at a fever pitch by the end of the month, or when the rest of the January 6 tapes come out, and then you put it on top of some of the people. Keep in mind, look at the role Adam Schiff played in railroading Trump with Russiagate.
Oh, the whole time.
Look at Adam Schiff. He was on the January 6 committee.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is a piece of slimy garbage. And now we have at least 30, according to the documents, visits to
30?
That's what I saw.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to read up on this.
But the things I find most fascinating, and I mentioned this at the beginning, with when you listen to the girls and the victims, they focus on the people that were hurting them or abusing them in extreme detail. And the Democrats were so pissed because the testimony confirmed Trump was never there.
Right.
And that is like, people, just like you said at the beginning, darn, I was so hoping Trump was going to be a scumbag like Biden.
Yeah, I know. And I want to talk about that in a few minutes, because we can talk about it now. I mean, I just, over the holidays, you spend time with people that don't think like you. That's just natural. And I was really hoping that the people that couldn't see it, that still have yet to see it, could see it, right? Like, they would maybe, like, it's, we've got an open border. We've got, no one's being screened coming across this border. Let me just give you some statistics really quick on the open border. In 2010, there were 463,382 illegal crossings. That's in 2010.
Oh, that's nothing. That's chicken feed.
Now In 2023, we're at 3,201,144.
That's
Okay.
because it's intentional.
Right. I mean, it's crazy. We've got, let's see here. Mayorkas, who hopefully gets impeached next week, is all in for this open border. But you've got over 8 million people, okay, have crossed the border since Biden has become president. That's a number greater than populations of 38 states.
Mm-hmm.
They've illegally entered our country. I mean,
and you thought this was going to convince some of your relatives.
I did. I thought, like, because they were so they were so concerned about COVID, right? You're so concerned about COVID.
Isn't
Everybody
that funny?
masked up. Get the injection, be boosted. You know, you're on your 17th booster shot. Like, you're so concerned, but there are people crossing our border. They're not being properly screened. And Facebook will probably try me on this, but there's no evidence of screenings taking place. Please show me if there is. Send the information to me.
They're 18 to 20 months. This is from a whistleblower 2 days ago from the Border Patrol. They're supposed to do DNA testing too, right?
Right.
Because we don't want to separate families. We don't want to do this. We don't want to have criminals come in. They're 20 months behind on DNA testing.
Right.
But they're still letting them pour in. Like, if you go to a live feed of the border right now, it's just a steady flow of people like lining up for Space Mountain at Disney World.
Right. If you're like, how to cause a pandemic, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Right there. Open the border, like you're saying. And that should concern you. If you're so concerned about pandemics and getting sick and people dying, then secure the border. But that hasn't moved them. People dying of fentanyl hasn't moved them. Our horrible, crappy economy and inflation and gas prices and all of that hasn't moved them. The suppression of free speech hasn't moved them. Hunter Biden. If you've seen what's on that guy's laptop,
yep,
you should be done. You should be like,
well, it's done. Funny. Here you ask, there were certain things that convinced me that 2024 is going to be completely different. I'm not a doomsdayer and I'm not a hopium guy. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm a realist.
That's kind of like me.
I'm a realist.
Yes.
I mean, I don't. There's not going to be an armed insurrection. January 6th wasn't an armed insurrection for a couple reasons. Most people don't have the balls.
Right. And I think there's
that's a part, because people say they're on television. Well, what if there's an armed insurrection? Are you telling me that the 40-year-old man who put a mask on his little 4-year-old playing peewee soccer in the sun up and down, you're telling me he's got the guts to roll on the government with a long rifle? Give me a break. Give me a break.
I have a friend of mine who works.
He doesn't even have the guts to tell him to stop teaching porn at school.
Right. We can't get people in the Republican Party to walk precincts or knock doors or show up at caucus. You think that they're going to take to the streets? Not
exactly. I mean, the MAGA people will. The MAGA people, like-minded people who are seeing reality, but let's face it, rhinos don't see reality. No. They're rhinos. They have a big horn on their head. How can you see reality? There's a horn on your head.
Right.
The Republicans are the people that threw Donald Trump under the bus.
Yes.
So it was the week before Christmas. By the way, did you have a good holiday?
I did have a good holiday. Good. It was fun. It was good. It was great. Everything went pretty smooth.
Super.
Our furnace started working again and we were good.
Oh, that's great to have heat.
Well, I didn't start working again. We had to get a new furnace.
Yeah, running water. I think running water is next, and a leash for your dog.
He's back. This is crazy. Here. Oh. It is what it is. I mean, my daughter's trying to get him out. He's not coming. He's so obedient.
Wow.
Get a treat, get a bone for him and lure him out. And then shut my door. Thank you.
Get a moose tranquilizer gun.
Yeah. And he's really excited. He wants to join the show, you guys. Okay.
So last week I showed it again and my audience reacted, and I see the reaction of people like yourself and people that are just, critical thinkers. There's a photograph, one of several that was released from the laptop, and it's a picture of naked Hunter Biden,
Yeah.
naked niece, which is the
Careful,
granddaughter.
Ken. We can't say this on Facebook. Yes.
Okay.
But
all right, of the president.
Yeah.
And it's kind of it's not a picture you want getting out there.
No.
And there's you know, involved and involved. And how about this? Is this okay for Facebook?
Fine. Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
We could do that.
So and yes, I've lost friends over this. People watching this are probably like, I'm sure he loses friends every day. But this is that turning point where I didn't used to lose friends over this, but once Epstein Island happens and a January 6th happens and a election that is stolen happens, then you're like, why are you still on that team?
Yes.
It's like, why? I get it. Orange man bad. Well, then go for DeSantis.
Yeah.
Then, if Orange man is bad. But why are people clinging to the left? Is it the free stuff?
Because I've tried to analyze this myself, and I'm like, and there's this hope in me that's like they're gonna see it. They're gonna finally see it, and they still can't see it. I think a lot of it is spiritual blindness, and not to be too, but I feel like there's a veil
I agree completely
over their eyes. Like their hearts have become hardened, and they are just blind to it. And then also I think there's a pride issue involved. I think like, no, we were so adamantly against Trump and so pro Biden that we have to stay with Biden because admitting that it's just not going well is it can't do it.
It'll be too much shame.
I mean, you like what's happened with Ukraine. You like that we're more trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. You like what's happening on a world stage. We got North Korea right now firing rockets at South Korea. You think that would happen under Trump? No, it wouldn't be happening under Trump. But our world is so much less safe under this administration, and you refuse to acknowledge it because either it's a pride thing and spiritual blindness. I mean, and I've realized though at this point, because there were comments made like over the holidays. And I'm sitting there and I'm completely outnumbered. And I'm like, I'm not even going to say anything. I was like, I normally I would engage, normally be like,
well, what kind of comments? Give me an example, because let me interject here.
Comments about Trump, side comments about, just him, just they hate Trump.
Well, the thing that bothers me is like, I recently went to, it was on Halloween because it was a Halloween party. I was a priest, by the way. I dressed up like a priest. Surely, I'm telling the truth.
Okay.
And let me tell you that priest costume, it's a chick magnet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, my wife was
away, Ken.
She.
Okay. Stay away.
No, I'm blessing you.
Thank you.
So my wife was like this 1950s bebop chick. Well, I don't know. She had high heels, so it worked.
Okay.
So before we go, and it was a lovely party, lovely people, all different ages as usual. I was one of the oldest there, Rachel.
Okay.
So, and here's what I always get as a conservative. Maybe you get it. Now we're going to this thing. Please don't bring up politics, because a lot of these people are, and I'm like, that's the last thing I'm going to do.
I have places like that.
The last
you can't mention, no religious talk and no politic talk.
But I'm not I never do. I'm not the person.
Okay.
So while I'm there, first of all, I hit it off with everybody there, even like the woke liberal total dingbats, which on another planet I would just bitch slap them all night. But I was getting along great.
Yeah.
And others want to bring up.
Yes.
They want to engage you.
Yes.
They know the thing. It's like they know I'm. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't want to ruin your party.
I'm not here to do that.
There's a million things we can talk about.
Right.
But if you're going to come right up in front of me,
you're the one that's saying something. You're doing it.
If you're going to roll up in my face and say, so what about Trump now with all the indictments? Then I'm going to say, what about you? You're unconscious. Right. Think about it. And that's how the left rolls. The left says, what did they say at the New York Times like 2 months before Trump was inaugurated? They said in the first 6 months of Donald Trump, Paul Krugman said this. He said he's going to crash the economy in the first 6 months. We'll be at war in a year, and the unemployment numbers will explode. What happened? The best economy in 50 years.
Right.
Peace.
Right.
And
Right.
unemployment numbers went so low that it was the most Black young employment in history. There were more unemployed. There were more Black young men employed than under Obama. So
Yeah.
everything they say is a setup. It's always a setup.
Right.
To
Well,
bait
and now the talk now is he's a dictator. But let's forget the other 4 years of his presidency, because he didn't act like a dictator then, but he will in the next 4 years, because there's nothing holding him back, and he will be a dictator. And there's like this total fear being pushed that he's going to turn into, Stalin or Mussolini if you elect him. That's the narrative now. That's all you hear.
What makes it so bad is these are members of our government. These are sitting congressmen and senators that actually say, never since the fascist dictatorship of Mussolini have we seen this behavior. And I'm like, what behavior? He hasn't been in office for 3 years.
Right. No.
They're saying that, and then the whole way they frame this debate, like he didn't try to overturn an election. He challenged the accuracy of the vote.
Right.
Which
is what you do in a democracy.
Yeah. The Constitution says we have 22 months.
Right.
You can do it.
The people should be able to question everything that happens in their government. Everything that goes down. If you live in a true democracy, you are entitled to question everything and question how it went down. You want receipts, you want audits, you want recounts, whatever you need, because you live in a democracy and every vote counts. And you should make sure that every vote counts. And that's what, every true citizenship, like person that's a legal citizen vote, Trump or whatever, vote counts.
True.
Right. Like not every vote, because that's just, they're going to try to get.
I always forget. You're in Colorado or Arizona?
Colorado.
Okay. I always forget, and forgive me. I should remember that. But I've got a guy coming on next week about how corrupt Arizona is, but Colorado is also a corrupt hellhole.
Well, we've got our Supreme Court telling us that we can't vote for who we want to.
Yeah, well, that
was the ballot.
Yeah.
They're just taking him off the ballot. And I did a satirical video about one of the judges just recently, just from this Colorado Supreme Court. Like, they are destroying democracy in order to save democracy. That's the narrative.
Yeah, I saw that.
We're going to be dictators in order to prevent a dictator. And anyone that's buying into this, like, I just don't. It's like amazing to me. I'm sorry.
Well, it's not even it. First of all, when you say to, and I want to get back to your family situation in a minute, but when you say to somebody, like someone said to me at that party, and I'm like, I didn't expect it, but you think they're gonna convict Trump of insurrection? And I thought, man, I made it all the way through this party just talking about dogs and kids and parents and life, and now you want to bait me, and I'm like, and so I'm like, okay, bitch, and it was a guy. That's how he identified.
Right. You never know, Ken.
Okay, well, first of all, I said he'll never be convicted of insurrection.
No.
Because it was not an insurrection.
Right.
By definition. Do you know no one has been convicted of insurrection?
No one's been convicted of insurrection.
No one at the January 6th thing.
Right.
No insurrection.
Right.
Trespassing.
Right.
Destruction of government property.
Right.
Entering a government building without permission. Are you kidding me?
Right.
It's like a bunch of high schoolers.
Right.
But they're treating them like insurrectionists.
Right.
And then I said something that I think he was frightened. He probably had to go home and cry on his wife's shoulder, because I said, he said, "Oh, you don't have a problem with it being an armed insurrection?" I said, there were no arms. There was no guns.
Right.
He goes, "Really? Where'd you hear that?" I said, "I do research. There was no guns at the armed insurrection." I said, "There were over 1 million people." I said, "I don't know how many guns you have. And, you'll never know how many guns I have or that are in my neighborhood. But I can assure you, if Donald Trump said hey, everybody, bring your guns. We're taking over this joint.
Right.
We'd still be there now.
Yes. Yes.
That's what an armed,
Right.
go down to Venezuela or Brazil if you want to see what armed insurrections look like. That was a protest. And then the FBI and the Capitol Police got everybody ginned up by shooting them in the face with paintball guns and what's the other one? Rubber bullets.
Yeah.
And got all these people all jacked up.
Right.
And then basically herded them where they need them to go and videotaped it.
I know.
You know
Ken.
it. Yeah,
I know what happens. I know.
But think about all the people that don't.
This is what I say. I say that January 6th, 2021 was all about November 2024. That is the entire, that's the whole, and what's concerning to me is they're about 3 years ahead of us. Like, if you think about it, they're about 3 years ahead of us in calculation and what they have planned. And also, I would like to say that our first president ever was an insurrectionist. Like, he was officially straight up insurrectionist, George Washington. And he was president. And notice how they remove him from the ballot, did they?
Well, this is why, like, even this conversation, like, we have to kind of stay within the rails.
Right.
Because, you might get accused of what? Free speech?
I know.
I mean, you have to tell.
I know. It's so stupid.
Yeah, the grown men don't understand. We have a generation of grown men that are children trapped in men's bodies, and a lot of women know this too. But not the women don't get off. Let me rephrase that. The women don't get away with being, you're just as guilty in some cases. Some of the women, it's just not all the men are the dumb ones in government. There's a lot of dumb women in government too.
I'm fully aware.
We have raised a generation of children, and we keep them behaving like children into their 50s.
Yes.
And then if you're in the teacher's lounge and you say something crazy, like you're having your break and you go, oh, I wish there was an insurrection. Maybe we'd have another government. Someone's going to go call the cops on you.
I know.
Think about that. We're raising rats and cowards.
Right. Tattletales.
That just got me banned, right? Well, no, I'm already banned.
I hope not. No, I hope I still have this channel after we're done, Ken. Oh my gosh. Like, I think we've covered everything you're not supposed to during this live. So love you all on Facebook. Hopefully I'm still here tomorrow.
So get back to your family. Did they gang up on you and
no, because I realized I had this like a moment where I was sitting there and I'm like, you know what? If they can't see it now, nothing I say is gonna be like, oh yeah, Rachel had this great revelation and now I can see it.
Yeah.
It's not happening. It's not happening. I wish them all the best. But I can't help you. Like, if you can't see it and if you think it's all great, like I love you, but I'm not going to engage in conversation with you. I'm not even going to do that. It's a waste of time. And now though, like I am like, some people just, I think what's crazy to me is like this idea that these people, like, they think they're really fighting for democracy, right? And they're fighting against the horrible, horrible villain, but you're not part of the resistance. And I think that they have this like sick delusion that they think they're part of the resistance.
Yeah.
If you've got the mainstream media backing you, if you've got Hollywood entertainment, big corporations, big pharma, all on your team, you're not part of the resistance.
Well, there's another example. There's another example of people raised to believe they don't even know the definition of resistance. You're not the French underground. You and Aunt Becky are blowing up bridges because the Nazis have taken over your city.
Right.
No, you're out there keying my car because I have an NRA sticker and saying I got to get rid of fossil fuel because solar is working. Solar is failing miserably.
Right.
It's a failure. And so is wind turbines. And the only reason someone would want to get rid of the combustion engine, one of the smartest things, we've invented some really cool stuff and some stupid stuff. But I have to say, gasoline and the combustion engine, that's friggin' brilliant. That's on par with the wheel.
Right.
Because every single person Every single person has access to that. You could be low income, high income. You could be a farmer. You could be a pilot in a jet. We all have affordable, accessible, transportable fuel. And the
Right.
government wants to get rid of that
Right.
and set up places where you stop and charge up your car like a
Right.
toy.
Right. Well, oh, and I saw that movie you told me to watch.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
on, I was on Ken had a show, like right before the new year. I was on with him.
Leave the World Behind.
Leave the World Behind. I saw that.
What'd you
And
think?
I thought it was really good. And I thought the same thing, because you're like, this could easily happen. And then what would you do if it happened? And that part where the Teslas are running into each other,
Yep.
like they're completely controlled. No, nothing against a Tesla. Like, I think they're pretty cool cars and it'd be fun to drive one. And I so far appreciate Elon Musk, except for some stuff that he's doing, but I appreciate his battle for free speech. But the fact that they're electronic, like you can totally control
Yes.
that car if you needed to. If you're some outside, it could be hacked. And so that was really profound when they were all like running into each other. I was like, oh man.
But this whole concept of we need to get rid of carbon. It's the
Right.
building block of life, you moron.
Right.
What are you doing? We got to get
Yeah.
rid of carbon.
Right.
We got to get rid of gasoline. We've got to get rid of cows. The World Health Organization just said we need to focus more on getting rid of these livestock and creating alternate sources of food. Why? Whose idea was that? It's the
Right.
people in charge, because if you can raise your own food, you don't need the government. They just raided another Amish
I saw
farmer.
that. So sad.
Yeah.
Saw that.
So look at the parties, look at the politicians, look at who's in charge, and say what they're proposing, their laws, their policies, their regulations. Does it give them more control or me more control?
Right.
If they're getting more control, then you're getting screwed. So,
Yes.
by the way, remember Joe Biden was going to have 500,000 charging stations?
Is that what he said?
Yeah, remember that's the goal.
Okay, yeah. Where are we at on that, Ken?
We're under 50,000, I believe.
Wow.
So imagine that. Imagine if we get to these absurd 2030, we're going to be half the carbon. 2040, we're not going to have combustion engines in California anymore. If we continue with this nightmare farce, how are you going to get around? What are you going to do? What are you going to, how are you going to medevac your kid to a hospital? How are you going to get an MRI?
No.
How are you going to keep a hospital suite going? How are you going to generate power with Timmy's solar panel on his van?
Right. And then you look into the way these solar panels are made, and like they're not saving the planet. I'm sorry, they're not. And neither are these batteries, these lithium batteries that are being, like, you look at a lithium mine and it looks like a nuclear holocaust took place.
Yes. Yeah.
They're not saving the planet that way. And the way they're being mined by children. It's I don't know, just the logic. There's no logic. There's no critical thinking skills being done at all. It's turned into like a robot race where we're just like, okay, whatever you tell us to do.
Well, you said it best. They're 3 years ahead of us.
I know.
And they can stay ahead of us because, and this is all, I'll speak for myself. It's my fault because not all my fault. I haven't caused all your problems, but I was one of those people that for years, I just worried about national elections.
Yeah.
I didn't worry about, who's on the school board, who's determining what book my kid learns from.
Right.
I wasn't paying attention to that.
No.
In my 30s, I was like, hey, whatever, George Bush, whatever.
Right.
Let's go kill bad people.
Right.
And then I woke up and said, wow, all these corrupt county commissioners and like you have all those corrupt judges in Colorado, and you have a joke of a Supreme Court just like us in Pennsylvania, just like Michigan. These men and women are jokes. 3 or 4 people out of the group can shut down an entire free republic in your state.
Right. And they think they're the good guys.
I know.
That's what's so messed up to me. Like, you watch these women talk like this, our Secretary of State, like she's like all about like saving democracy, and
she's an idiot.
Like I know, but like they think like in their own like weird world Like they think that they're the good guys stopping Trump because he's the bad guy. And they think that the ends justify the means, right? So whatever we have to do, if we have to violate the Constitution, if we have to take their right to vote away, if we have to stuff mailboxes and do whatever we have to do, we're doing it. Even if we have to cause a insurrection, like whatever we have to do, we're doing it to save democracy because Trump is so bad. Like that's how they think. Like that's their world. And I don't know how you unplug them. Like I don't I mean I don't know how you undo that. Like they go to bed at night thinking, I'm saving democracy. Like
Yeah.
we're doing it. We're gonna do it. And they think they're gonna save the planet too. They think like if they cause so much government regulation and they tell you when you can drive and how much like vacation time you're allotted to have and how much you can fill up your car with gas, and if they can tell you how much you can heat your home, that they're going to save the planet. It's a very anti-God.
Look at
they think they're gods, basically.
Well, I was just going to say there's a level of arrogance that lives on the left.
Yes.
And that arrogance, it comes out in the dumbest way. Like it's beyond, I don't think there should be cows anymore because of the methane, and it's hurting greenhouse gases. First of all, these morons probably failed every science class they ever had. But secondly, do you really think that, having paper straws is going to save the ocean? The ocean is like the most powerful force on Earth.
Right.
It flips 50,000-ton ships.
Right.
Do you think the turtles down there going, oh, thank God it's a paper straw? What the? These people are delusional. Meanwhile,
but it is. I think it's a godless way of living. Like they believe that there is no other higher power and there's nothing else higher, that they're going to save the planet. They're going to save democracy. It's all them. And,
I agree.
And that's concerning. I don't think anyone, if you don't believe, like, to believe that you're the highest step that it gets, like that's detrimental to our world. Really, like if you don't believe you're going to answer to anything higher than you, that's what creates tyrants.
Well, that's how we got
creates dictators. There is a higher power.
Yes,
and he does have an opinion, and they don't think that. They don't live like that. They don't legislate like that, and it's
this is what we're up against in the power structure, and that is how we have so many bad people. You can call them evil, bad, criminal, corrupt, in a power structure that should be catering to us and protecting us. So getting back to your question, like what's going to happen? Well, the reason I have a hard time believing November is going to be normal in any way is because all the people that stole the election are either still in power or more powerful. All the companies are still contracted or extended contracts. They've doubled down on mail-in voting. They doubled down on multiple day voting. They took the signature requirement off in several states.
Yeah.
They said, we don't even need a signature anymore. We're just going to take the ballot. So if that wasn't in place, I'd have a different view. But I just don't see physically with the push to make you and I into insurrectionists, and they're talking. Did you see the trailer for the new movie Civil War?
No.
That's the next one you got to watch.
Oh. Well, when you think about this, okay, these people that have gotten us to this place, right? I mean, eventually the goal, if you're voting for the left, if you're voting for Biden, the goal is for you to own nothing, right? It's all taken from you. You have no rights, but you're happy, but you answer and you're controlled by the government.
Only they get wealth. Only they get
wealth. But the elites control you.
They get a jet, and they get to use gas, and they get to have a big carbon footprint.
As big as they want, but you can't.
We don't.
You can't, right? You're the minions. We're the minions, right? We're the lessers, and that's the goal. And I think like they're well on their way. We're getting closer to that. Like we really are. After they saw what they could do in 2020 with the pandemic and everything, like they realized the amount of control that they can have. I think that once they've tasted that, Ken, and once you taste that control, you don't let it. You're not going to let it
No, it's
go.
never. That's the
It's
thing. We gave it up.
yeah.
There's what makes this so pure. I'm
Mm.
probably going to get banned for this, showing this. YouTube's probably like, how dare he show that
Whoa!
filth?
Yeah.
The Constitution. What kind of whack
Blur
job
it.
is
Blur
it?
it. Blur the image.
Ban
Blur
him.
it.
My God, it's like porn. Get it away from me. This is so simple, so
Yeah.
streamlined. And in here, it basically says, we the people, we decide, we give you the authority to rule us the way we choose. We have the authority to take it away.
Right.
Period. That's
Right.
it. But you're
Right.
right. We have let them get so much power. I talk to my hunters and fishermen friends all the time because
Yeah.
I don't fish or hunt yet.
Okay.
I may have to after next year. I may
Okay.
have to be like killing squirrels in my yard to feed my family.
Hmm.
But
I've got that. That reassures me though, because I've got so many squirrels. Like it's like
awesome.
yeah, we're borderline infestation here. So we'd be fine.
Cool.
I do what I got to do, right? Roast it up, put a little salt and pepper on it.
There you go. But look at how everything is designed to revolve around the government. It's backwards. It's supposed to revolve around the people.
Right.
So you want to go out and you want to go and hunt on land that America owns, that you paid for with your taxes. You have to get permission from a bureaucrat.
Right.
California just added 27 more caveats to their concealed carry law. You can't carry in a park. You can't carry in a
like what?
Even
list. Like if you're in a national state park?
Yeah, you're not allowed to carry. No.
Wow. That's when you would like need something.
Think about that arrogance.
Yeah.
Who pays for the national parks? That's not. That was never supposed to be owned by the government.
Right.
Those are ours.
Right.
So there's the arrogance. We've let it happen.
Right.
Say, oh, I want to go fishing. Oh, I don't have a license.
Right.
Well, come anyway. No, they'll arrest you. They'll arrest me.
Yeah.
In Pennsylvania, you have to have a license to do everything.
Right.
Now think about that. Why?
I know.
Who came up with that idea? You can only catch.
It's monitoring. It's it's power, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. I fully believe that. We've seen it time and time again. All you have to do is study history a little bit, just a little bit, and you look at every single government, every single person that obtained too much power, and they were corrupt. They corrupted, and after that, society collapsed. Right? It can't sustain itself, because when you give so much control to one entity, it becomes corrupt, and absolute corruption corrupts absolutely, and so it's done. It erodes. You look at the fall of Rome. You look at every single there's an end, and so I mean I don't want to end this live on a completely hopeless note, but it's like
but it's over. Everybody, say your goodbyes. It's probably, what time is it where you are? By dinner, it's going to hit the fan. No.
Terrible. No, because I do try to leave. And that's, and every time I come back to my faith, I do, Ken. And I come back to my walk with God.
I take it are you wrapping up now?
Well, I'm getting close to it.
Okay. Because I'm not sure how long you want to go, or if you wanted to dump me off.
I'm going to have to, well, probably we're at an hour.
Well, so, why don't you run it past your dog? See what he says.
He's out there. He's kind of like whimpering a little bit. He's like, let me in.
You brought up the faith thing.
Yeah.
And there's definitely, you definitely see a disconnect. The people that are doing the worst things, obviously, are not connected to God in any way. They believe they are untouchable.
Right.
The other thing that frustrates me, as you were saying about history, all of this has happened before. Yes. And those of us that have studied history and studied political science and are passionate about our government, etc., we've seen all this. We try to tell people. We try to tell them, if you take people off the ballot, or if you arrest your opponent, or if you expand voting to anywhere, anyway, anytime you want, you're going to lose your society. It's
Right.
all happened.
Right.
And that's what really pisses me off, that they don't see it.
Right. Like, this has been done and it doesn't end well. So stop. Like, hello, can you stop? I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we have to do. I feel like, and my message always to those that follow me, and you guys know, then you're probably like, oh, Rachel, it's so redundant. But as a Christian, I know that we're called to occupy until he comes. Like, that is my message. That will always be my message. So regardless of what lies ahead, regardless of what goodness knows, I mean, honestly, God knows what's going to happen this year. And I feel like it's just going to be one event after the other. I do feel like it's like the calm. Now, it's not even been calm yet. Like, we're a week in almost, and it's like so much is already happening. But I feel like it's only going, the momentum's it's just going to build and build and build. And
I think
by the
it'll
time
be
you hit July, August, it's going to be like,
I think it's going to be worse before it gets better.
yeah.
But as a fellow Christian,
Yeah.
and I know millions feel like this, there's part of me that has a calm, kind of like, number one, God knows what's going on. There's a reason. I don't.
Yes.
He knows all the hairs on my head, even the gray ones.
Right. Right.
So that's what gives me an inner calm. So people say, well, what happens if there isn't an election? I don't know, but it's going to be one hell of an interesting year.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if you're, and now I'm sounding like preacher mama.
Yeah, I love it.
At the end of the day, if you're good with God, then you're solid.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
And so many of the people that I've had the honor to meet that were at January 6th, so many of those people are people of God.
Yes.
I mean,
you're going to be held accountable. You're going to be held accountable for what you supported, what you got behind, what you got behind child mutilation. You're going to be held accountable for that. You're going to stand before God, and you're going to have to justify why you thought he messed up and why humans had to correct course and tell him how he was wrong. You're going to be held accountable for it. And I do feel like at the end of the day, it is having your personal walk with God and trusting in him and knowing that he does see it all. Like, he's outside of it all, and nothing's catching him off guard, right? Nothing's going to surprise him and be like, oh no, I didn't know this would have happened. He knows, like, and that's reassuring to me. And there is that hope of like, even though like it does get crazy and people are like, Rachel, how can you talk about that? It's so like, but I do have a peace. Like, I honestly do. Like,
it really is.
I can talk about it because I have a peace, because I know that God, that doesn't mean you don't get involved. You definitely get involved. You occupy, you knock doors, you make phone calls, you speak to those that are open, right?
And I think God
got that veil, just bless them and move on.
God wants you to embrace reality. I mean, in the Bible over and over, he tells you, don't be fooled by this person. Pay attention to that person. Don't do this. Don't do that. Right. I mean, I look at I look at politicians in a way like preachers. There's some preachers that are they're preaching bullcrap.
Right.
And they've embraced worldly things and poisoned their churches.
Yes.
Speaking of that, very quickly, totally off subject, Jimmy Kimmel. Have you been following the Jimmy Kimmel controversy?
Yeah, with Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, here's the best part. I don't know if you've heard this yet, because I told you I downloaded all the testimony and stuff.
Okay.
There's testimony of a victim calling out Jimmy Kimmel. Here's the best part. When he went on Twitter, what did he say? He said, I've never been to Epstein Island. I've never been on that jet. F you, blah, blah, blah. However, he didn't say, I've never been to Epstein's house, because the witness by name under oath in court, I have the document. Did you ever give Jimmy Kimmel a massage while he was at the Epstein mansion? Oh, yes. Did he ever ask for sex? Yes. Who initiated? He did. Did you have sex with Jimmy Kimmel? Yes. End of subject. So this is why I'm saying that it's just going to be misdirection and but see, Jimmy Kimmel's burned now. So now after making that scene, see, if I was doing that, well, my wife would have a bullet in my head, so I wouldn't be doing this show. But if I was doing that, I would have kept my mouth shut. I wouldn't have gotten into it with Aaron Rodgers. I would have just let it go.
Yeah.
I would have said, well, I'm not going to say I've never, because that's what Clinton always does that too. Remember?
Yes.
I didn't have sex with that woman. It was just some type of oral playfulness.
Yeah.
Remember, they redefine
Yes.
everything.
Yes. Yes. Well, everything's twisted. That's why you have to have discernment. Like you have to be able to discern, and that's like God given. Like I really like you got to be able to pick up on this stuff and not be fooled. Don't be fooled. But I do want to say, as we're ending, like something that my pastor said that was so profound. He said, and it was in reference to Biden, and he's like, this nation gets what it deserves. Like,
Yes.
honestly, and this is the president that you as a nation deserve right now. And
Yep.
and that's so, like, it's hard to hear that, but when you start to read this Epstein stuff and what our government has done behind it, yeah, you deserve Biden. No, you don't deserve anybody that really wants to make America great, or that put America first, or that wants to protect children in the womb, or wants to secure our borders. And you don't deserve it. Like, you don't deserve it until you get right with God and start to make the right choices. Then you'll get what you deserve. And that was like, oh, because I was like, because it just seems like everything's collapsing, and like we're kind of getting what we deserve, especially when you read this Epstein stuff. Like this, it's so sick and so dark and so twisted that I don't even know how the human nature, how we can get that dark. But here we are. So that was just something that hit me hard, and I didn't want to hear it because you're like, no. But when I'm reading over this stuff now, I'm like, man, wicked. Like
it is wicked.
Evil.
We're in a dark place. We're in a very dark place. Some people understand it. Some people don't. And the people that don't understand this level of darkness, they are going to be so shell-shocked. I don't even think they're going to be able to function. They can't process like what the FBI has. They can't process what Border Patrol people are seeing with young girls and young boys. They can't even process it. You bring it up and it's like, well, whatever, orange man bad.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you gotta wake up.
Yeah.
You gotta wake up. And now so many of these people are in our cities and towns.
I know.
And
what was something profound too? We could talk forever, Ken. I'm sorry, but
I don't mind it. And I just want to.
No, I know, but we gotta.
I want to thank your audience, though.
Oh yes.
I wanted to thank the audience. You have a great audience. You're a wonderful person, and you were so gracious to have me on. And this is my first live stream. I just want to point out I am wearing pants.
Okay, good. Yes.
So, but this was very exciting. So I wanted to thank your audience for being so patient, because I've never done a live stream.
Before people start to tune out, where can people find you, Ken?
They can find me at kenmatthewsmedia.com, and I'm on Rumble, Ken Matthews, all one word. I'm still on YouTube unless they ban me today.
Okay.
But Rumble is the place to go, and kenmatthewsmedia.com is where you can subscribe, because I'm not a billionaire like conservative mama, so I need to get.
Gosh, stop.
I need to. I need to pay the bills. But
from my basement, Ken.
Okay. It's get Ken for 10. It's $10. All you can tolerate of me. Don't talk to my wife. Don't ask her questions. Just subscribe to me.
And you put out a lot of content, don't you? I mean, you're constantly...
Yeah, we do stuff every day. Sunday we usually take off, but I find myself, on my way home from church or after church, I'm like, I really should do something on this Epstein thing. So, but it's Monday through Saturday. You get tons of content, and we have great guests on, like Rachel, and we have a whole bunch of whistleblowers. But get back to your closing monologue.
I don't even know what I don't even know what I was going to say.
Something about cooking squirrels.
If it all goes down, that's what I'll be doing. That's what you guys can know I'll be doing. I'll just be roasting a squirrel on a skewer somewhere. And I'll do it. I'll do it if I have to. Anything to survive. That's me. Like I don't mind camping. I can get dirty. I'm just like, let's go. And I've always, like, not to sound like weird, but I've always had this in my whole family. I'm one of 7 children. And we're always like, okay, if the world starts to end, where are we meeting?
That's smart.
Like, it's all like, okay, and then how long do we give time-wise before we send someone out for you? Like, all of that is talked about. And it's been that way since I was like little. Like, since I was a little kid. So
it's common sense.
Yeah.
Your parents did a great job. You should always, You should always have a meeting point.
Yes.
You know, people always say dumb things like, well, if that happens, I'll just call. Call on what?
You don't have a phone, right?
Is there, well, if that happens, we'll just go to the gas station. We'll buy. If the electricity goes out, you can't pump gas, dingbat.
No,
The
I
pumps
know.
don't work. You have to have some type of plan. You don't have to
Right.
be a cannibal.
Right. Please.
I mean, that's what
no.
they do in government. We don't have to do that.
No.
Here's the other thing. As far as survival,
Yeah.
those of us on the right, we already know how to hunt
Yes.
and raise food
Yes.
and quote unquote survive.
Yes.
I feel terrible for the soy boys and the woke folk when the power goes off for just a week.
Right.
One
Right.
really bad ice storm,
No.
and people are going to starve to death.
The skinning of the animal would be hard for me, but I'd be like, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I remember being a
Once you
kid.
do it once, the first
Right.
time it's like, oh,
I remember being a kid and like I went fishing and I caught some fish and I brought them home and my mom's like, you can do this. I am not, you do it. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna. So I started to like chop the head off the fish and the tail started like flipping and hitting my hand as I'm chopping. And like my sisters are watching me and I'm the oldest of my sisters. And I'm like, they're like, go, Rachel, stop. And I'm like, I gotta stop. I gotta get it. And I'm like crying and chopping and we got it done. And I ended up eating the fish. But it was like so like traumatic that I was like, my goodness, like how long do you have to wait before the fish is not gonna feel it anymore? So, but I'll do it. I'll do it if I have to, Ken. So man.
You're gonna sob and you're gonna chop.
I'm gonna sob and chop, but we're gonna get it done. So anyways, well, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been fun. I'm reading your comments. I do have some people that are not fans, but that's okay. I mean,
Really?
I can't make you see it.
No,
I can't.
We should read a couple of those comments. The bad comments are the best.
Okay.
Have there been any attempts on my life yet?
Nothing on you, no. And oh my gosh, I used to do a series when I started out, and like before I got heavily censored, I used to have videos, satirical videos, Ken, that would hit 2-3 million views. Like it was like normal. It was normal before they got a hold of me and they realized who I was. And I would get so much hate, and I just would sit down and I just read the hate mail, and it was like a whole thing, and it was wonderful. It was awesome because it like slowly desensitized me to like mean comments. I was like, I don't really care.
And after a while, it gets funny because it's embarrassing that adult men and women would take the time not to debate or to question, but rather say, you know, you're a piece of blank blank, and I hope you're burning blank blank, and you ought to blank blank, and you're, you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, okay. So we've got one here. We are saving democracy by voting your guy out like we did in 2020. Biden goes to church. I think she meant to say church. Your moron does not.
Biden goes to church. See what he does after he's done taking a shower with his granddaughter and swimming naked in the pool in front of the Secret Service agents. You know,
but she doesn't know this. I can guarantee you the girl that wrote this.
But who would say something like that?
She has no idea. She doesn't know about the laptop. She doesn't know about 10%.
Biden goes to church. That's your rationale.
Oh, okay.
This is good.
I know.
Oh my God, this is good.
Come on, haters.
Send me a message.
Hate. Send me a message. I do have a great comment that I do like from Mike. The reason people are still blind is because the mainstream media in this country has put the blinders on the people. They either don't report on a story, they report the story with bias, or only tell a part of the story. And people either don't know about the story or drink the Kool-Aid. That's very profound.
And that is why our audiences are informed and have better analysis than people in the media. And when I used to do Rush's show, the comments you would get from his audience were like,
oh gosh,
you know, they're paying people $12 million a year on MSNBC.
Yeah.
And these people just talk out their rectum.
Right.
And then you get like a random caller on the Rush show or on your stream that basically in 30 seconds does astute analysis. And that's why we gravitate toward fellow patriots.
Yes.
because you're not going to get this on NPR's the worst. They're the most laughable. They
Yes.
think if they play classical music in the background, it makes them sound smart.
You're intelligent.
Yeah, you just play some Mozart in the background and you talk like this.
No. The people that I like, the people that can't see it yet, like I don't think that I don't think any digging is done. It's like, it's just headlines. It's just like,
yeah,
Trump indicted again. And they're like, oh my gosh, he did it. He's indicted again. He's horrible. He's been indicted. He must be guilty. Like, it's just,
here's a headline.
Headlines. And if you send them information, they won't read it. They don't care.
And I read everything. And I remember when I first endorsed Trump, and I told you about it at the beginning of the show when it started 7 hours ago. I told you at the beginning of the show, I wanted to vet Trump to make sure that I wasn't the guy, hey, let's put Trump in, and then we find out he's a scumbag.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I deep dive everything. So if people send me stuff all the time, well, what about this? And then they'll link to CNN or whatever, and I'll read it. And then I will nicely respond. Well, that was disproven because of this, that. I want to give you an example. The day before yesterday, there was a headline, something like plenty of mentions of Trump and Clinton in Epstein papers.
Yes. I think.
But all the mentions of Trump exonerated him.
Right. Yeah.
He was never at the island.
But they want to pair them together. They want to constantly pair them together. So if you're reading headlines, you're like,
yes. Well, look at the headline. Kimmel never at Epstein Island.
Yeah.
But he was having sex with his massage therapist at Epstein's house.
Right.
You see, it's the game.
Yeah.
And that's why nobody has the time because of this stupid thing.
No.
This is your dog's phone.
Yes.
Nobody has time.
Right.
It's like, I don't want to hear that. Orange man bad. We know he's a racist. He's a sexist.
Right.
We know this, that, the other thing. But the response of Biden goes to church, so do molesters.
I know. Yeah. And we're going to close it down now. But like, you don't have to like who you vote for. Like that I think that's where people get it all messed up. Like,
yep.
You don't have to like Trump, right? He doesn't have to be your friend. You don't have to hang out with him. You don't have to invite him to dinner. You don't have to like who you vote for. You're voting on policies. That's why we vote. We vote on the person that puts America and America's interests first, because you care about your children, because you care about the future of America. So you support the policies behind that person. You don't have to like the person. And I think what's gotten so twisted is we think that like they have to be our best friend. We have to love them so much. Like, no, there's a lot of things that Trump says and I'm like, please don't say that. Don't say it. Don't say it. But I support his policies. When you look at just simply what would Trump do on day one of like January, the end of January, January 20th, 2025, and what would Biden do January 20th, 2025? Like it's so vastly different. Okay. And what Trump would do would protect my children. Securing that border protects my kids.
Right.
Securing that border prevents a possible terrorist attack, a possible another pandemic from breaking out. That protects my kids. So I support those policies.
And the other part of it is exactly what you just said. And if you want to personalize it, what I always say is, let's say you have a choice. Who would you trust if you were in an emergency and you're injured and you need someone to take your wife to safety? Would you call Donald Trump or Joe Biden?
I don't think. I mean, like you got.
I mean, who would you call?
Right.
What's that?
Right.
I mean, that's what I mean. I would say, look, if I wouldn't want to have you in my home, then I'm not voting for you because I already think you're a scumbag.
Right.
I wouldn't trust the Bidens in my home. I wouldn't trust my current governor, Shapiro, in my home. I wouldn't trust Hunter around children.
No.
But I would trust Donald Trump all day.
Right.
Just because we disagree.
But Ken, like, you don't have to like him. And you just you might like him. You don't even have to have a beer with him. That's what I try to explain women. I especially like the suburban moms that are like, oh, he's
oh my God.
Oh, just a cat. But I'm like, listen, moms, You don't have to like him. It's about your kids. It's
And
about
they've
the
been so
future
conditioned.
for your children. I know. It's
And
like,
women, there's so many smart women out there in government, in the military, in business, and yet some just get conditioned.
yeah.
They get conditioned to, they really believe that there's like 5 Bidens that could be indicted. 5. I mean, the family is so dirty
Mhm.
and corrupt.
Mhm.
And then you look at their policies.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about the trans garbage and everything
Oh
else.
gosh.
That's another stream.
That's so, yeah, maybe behind the paywall on yours where we can really talk about it. And I probably need to do that. I probably do need to go behind a paywall more, because then I can really, really say what I think. I do
Well, I
have to
will say
censor myself so much.
to your audience, Rumble, I think Rumble is a home run for everybody right now
Okay.
for free speech. So
Yeah.
far, so good. Knock on wood. They are
Yeah. Move
public.
over
They
there,
went public
guys.
a year ago.
Yeah.
They went public. And again, love them or hate them, what's happening on X with Alex Jones and Tucker, free speech is exploding on
Yes.
Twitter.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that crap,
You're not going
that's
to
going
get
to
the
get
true
worse.
story.
It's
No,
going
the
to get
truth.
worse.
Yeah. And the truth,
Yeah.
you're not going to get, if you want the real story, you got to find free speech platforms. That's why I am on another one, Webkin, which I do. I just started over there, but I'm trying to get over to free speech platforms, so that as things heat up and it gets more intense, because it's going to, you got to have a place where you can go and just really say what you're thinking. And I love Facebook, because it's my largest platform, but I mean, I can't really say what I want to say. I
Oh,
can't.
it's terrible. It's truly
So
terrible. And plus, you've got layers of technology. The algorithms will knock you off for, like there's words you
right.
can't say. There's just certain words you just can't say
No.
anymore because the government's gotten involved. I'm telling you, they're going to ramp it up as we head into the spring. You're going to have an alternative source
Yes.
for freedom. Now, Truth Social, knock on wood, very free speech.
Yeah.
Still. And Gab, I forgot to mention Gab.
Yeah, I did
And
that.
I have 50,000 followers on Gab,
You.
which is really it's not
Yeah.
really a lot, because there's people on Gab that have like 5 million followers. But I'll take my 50,000 followers on Gab because they're patriots and they're truth seekers. But Gab and Rumble and Truth are now. I'm not on Telegram. Have you gone on Telegram?
I'm on Telegram. Yes.
Okay. I hear that's pretty free speech.
Yeah, you guys got to come over there. I don't have a large but I do say whatever I want over there, which is nice.
Are you conservative mama on all these platforms?
Who am I? Who? I on Rumble, no, the guys on Rumble, I think I'm the conservative mama.
Okay, yeah. All right.
So that makes
I follow you on Rumble.
On Truth Social, I'm the conservative mama. But on Telegram, I'm just conservative mama. And I say what I want to say over there, which is really nice.
And this is the other part of people say, what can we do? What can we do?
Yes.
Well, you can tell people about people that stream like us. You can tell people where to go to get the truth. Like there have been some Democrats that I know that have come over.
Yes.
And it's wonderful. Like I have friends that the guy that I interviewed yesterday, I can't remember if I mentioned this on your show or not. Gene Ho, the editor-in-chief of
Before
George
we
Magazine.
went live, you told me.
Wonderful man, wonderful guy. He used to be a hardcore liberal.
Wow.
Hardcore. I mean, and we talked about that. And he said, and then I started looking at the policies and the Constitution and what did it for him. He supported Trump. And all these people started to turn on him.
Yeah.
And he said, I did business with people like for 15 years. And because I'm not pro-trans, they didn't want to do business with me. Or because he held a fundraiser for Trump at one point. Yeah. Because he used to be Trump's photographer.
Okay.
And he said, people just wouldn't talk to me anymore.
Wow.
And I'm like, what's going on? We've been friends. What's happening? And then he realized it. Then he said, This is ridiculous. I'm not only going to support him, I'm going to vote for him. I'm going to raise money for him. I'm going to get a magazine. I'm going to tell the truth. So it's like
Wow.
some people have
Wow.
made the transition, right?
Yes. Yeah, a lot of people, and I do have a lot of followers on here that they have come around. They started out like not liking anything I did, but they were here for the satire, the funny
Well, you are
jokey
brilliant at that.
videos I do. And so they're like, okay, I guess I'll watch
Yes.
you. I hate you so much, but I'm here.
That's how I found you. I used to play just the audio on my radio shows.
Oh.
I mean, I gave you credit. I don't do anything without attributing it. But I used to put you on my Facebook before I was banned. I used to put you on my other page when I was doing radio.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're brilliant at that.
But that like kind of got him in, and then they start to stick around, and they're like, okay, maybe I can agree on that, and I guess you see there, and then before you know it, they're like, oh my gosh, what's happened to me? I'm changing. I'm becoming an America first. I love America. I know what happened. Like it is what it is. It's good, and I'm happy, and that's my goal, is just to slowly wake people up. So yes. So support Ken, guys. Go over and support him. Where are you at again, Ken? One more time.
KenMatthewsMedia.com.
Okay.
Ken Matthews Media, all one word.com. And then just put in the Google machine or DuckDuckGo, Ken Matthews, all one word, or Ken Matthews Report, and you'll get just like a buttload of, like, let's say you don't want to subscribe to me right now.
Right.
Maybe you want to, well, there's probably hundreds of hours of free online content that you can find out.
Right.
If you're comfortable with what I'm doing. So
yeah.
All over the internet.
We need people like you. We need people like you speaking the truth and to be supported and not to depend. That's why I do like the subscriber whole program. And I do have a Patreon, like where I have people that like support me on Patreon just monthly. They just give and then I'm
Aren't
not
those
dependent.
people great?
They're awesome.
Like, I mean, I got Christmas gifts this year. Yes. I was like in tears.
Oh,
I was getting emotional.
Yeah.
Because I would open up my, messages. My husband and I just wanted to send you this check.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
What? We've been listening to you for 6 months and you're right on. Here's a check. I get emotional now thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
When
I know that's what keeps me going. Like, honestly, because there have been points like, I mean, right now this is the smallest like online, like they're so suppressing me. Like, it's just whatever. And that's like depressing because you're like, oh my gosh. And then you go like, well, is this reaching anybody? Can anyone hear this?
Yes,
is this having an impact?
You're
and then you come back to like those. Well, then you come back to those steady supporters, right?
Yes.
Those steady people that are like, and you're like, okay, well, it means something to them, so I'll keep going. And it's a blessing. It really is. So,
or you get a letter from, you get a message. I've got a listener in South Korea, which just blows me away. And then I have a few people that are on military bases that used to listen to Rush.
Yes.
And they found me through syndication when I was still on the radio. Yeah. So they subscribe and they're out of the country. And you just get these wonderful messages because that's something else the media does not do. No. The media does not want us connecting.
No.
They don't want us saying, oh my gosh, I have the same set of values as the Black woman in Chicago who has her own business. They don't want you knowing that.
No. They want you to feel isolated and that you're the only one that thinks the way you think and you're all by yourself and no one listens to you. No one cares about what you're saying. You're not having an impact. Be quiet. And so, but when you have those steady supporters, like it really does mean a lot. So, all right, Ken, lovely. That's a wrap.
That was wonderful.
Okay, guys, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you again soon.
Happy New Year.